Welcome to CSS Chronicles. 21 Lessons for 21st Century.
Chapter 12. Humility. Author believes that humans naturally show humility. It is ignorance and racism that has led some humans to believe that some are superior to others and some are center of the center. However, morality, spirituality, and creativity are universal ethos, and they don't have to be linked to religious texts. Apes have evolved the tendency to help the poor and needy. They evolved these behaviors millions of years before the Bible instructed ancient Israelites to do the same. One must follow these rules no matter which religion a human belongs to. Therefore, there is no need to rely on a religious text or any other teachings to convince society they need to show humility. Society will naturally show humility without religion. Author writes in the book, morality doesn't mean following divine commands. It means reducing suffering. Hence, in order to act morally, you do not need to believe in any myth or story. You just need to develop a deep appreciation of suffering. Morality is about reducing suffering, and this does not require belief in a myth or story. Harrari also thinks you do not need to believe in God to be moral. Again, society does not need to believe in a powerful God to be scared into doing the right thing. Immoral behavior is always counterproductive in the end. Therefore, society will always shun those who behave in this way. For example, no one wants to live in a society where strangers are constantly raped and murdered. Chapter 13. God. Author has given his opinion in the book that God depends upon definition. God is what you want God to be. Humans, when they cannot answer certain questions, they associate those things with God and often mix spirituality with religion. Spirituality raises questions which human faculties are not able to answer in concrete terms, and people believe that answers to those questions are the path that leads to God. The problem with people is that they want God to be concrete. They want a solid definition of God which human mind can comprehend and understand. Nevertheless, humankind is stuck in the loop, whether God is a mystery or is it concrete. Chapter 14. Secularism. Author writes in the book, questions you cannot answer are usually far better for you than answers you cannot question. According to author, the questions related to God and answered questions can be handled in only one way. The only alternative to building a society on God is building one on secularism. What is secularism? It is important to know first what it is not. Unlike religion, secularists don't believe that they have a monopoly on truth, compassion, and morality. Seculars try to separate truth from belief. The story of religion endows people with a sense of meaning and purpose when one believes in it strongly, but this says nothing about whether this belief is true. Indeed, a strong belief is often required when the story isn't true. Historical figures such as Galileo Galilei are the heroes of secularism because these individuals dared to question the social order in pursuit of the truth. Similarly, the masses of people that stood up against brutal regimes are likewise celebrated. Harrari notes, we must remember the foundation of the secular code. 1. Truth. 2. Compassion. 3. Equality. 4. Freedom. 5. Courage. 6. Responsibility. Adopting this secular approach will challenge the idea of blindly praying for change. Instead of hoping for change, society can actively make positive change happen. The uphill battle that secularists must contend with is the battle of the unknown. Many people fear the unknown, they want simple answers for every question, and in the past societies were predicated on certitude for this reason. But we know today that secular societies that acknowledge their ignorance are prosperous and peaceful. There is no question that more people are willing to embrace the unknown today, and this has benefited society. But it is important to acknowledge that this embrace does not come without consequences, namely how to answer the most important questions of the 21st century. Chapter 15. Ignorance. The author has opinion that we humans must accept this fact that we do not know everything. We are more emotional and less rational. Just like animals, humans make most decisions based on emotional reactions and shortcuts. However, emotions are not sufficient in the modern world. From an evolutionary perspective, it has been advantageous to trust in the knowledge of others. But like other traits that may have worked well in the past, but may not be useful today, the illusion of knowledge can be dangerous. We live in a more complicated world, and few people understand the limitations of their knowledge. Consequently, some who know next to nothing about meteorology or biology nevertheless propose policies regarding climate change and genetically modified crops, while others hold extremely strong views about what should be done in Iraq or Ukraine without being able to locate these countries on a map. People do not seek out new knowledge that challenges their existing paradigms, but trap themselves in an echo chamber of like-minded friends and subscribe to news feeds that are agreeable to them. Their beliefs are rarely challenged. The problem is that facts don't matter, since people rarely change their minds when they are presented with sheets of statistical data. It simply isn't how human beings operate. And it may be that the belief in individual rationality is a product of liberal groupthink. It may be the case that individual rationality is overvalued. Harrari recalls a scene from Monty Python's Life of Brian where a crowd of starry-eyed followers mistake Brian for the Messiah. Brian tells his disciples that you don't need to follow me, you don't need to follow anybody. You've got to think for yourselves. You're all individuals. You're all different. The enthusiastic crowd then chants in unison, yes. We're all individuals. Yes, we are all different. Monty Python were parodying the counterculture orthodoxy of the 1960s, but the point may be true of the belief in rational individualism in general. Modern democracies are full of crowds shouting in unison, yes, the voter knows best. Yes, the customer is always right. It isn't merely that groupthink affects ordinary voters, but presidents and CEOs. The powerful do not prioritize the discovery of truth or seeing reality for what it is. They are driven to changing reality whenever they can. There is a pragmatic consideration, how to allocate time effectively. Leaders are thus trapped in a double bind. If they stay in the center of power, they will have an extremely distorted vision of the world. If they venture to the margins, they will waste too much of their precious time. The key to human success in the modern world is our ability to think together in large groups. This has allowed us to rely on other skills for almost our needs. Stephen Sloman and Philip Fernbach call this the knowledge illusions. With our current collective knowledge, finding the truth through individual experimentation is a waste of time. We are better off remaining individually ignorant, but create collective knowledge.